I got a good fantasy matchup for you guys today. Roger Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. Roger Mayweather said that he would whoop Manny Pacquiao when he fought. Back in the 80s. And Roger Mayweather was I do think Roger Mayweather was a good fighter, the Black Mamba as they called him. And I thought he was a good fighter, but not necessarily a great fighter. Wasn't necessarily the smartest, if you ask me. If you look back at the Mayweather family, you see Floyd Sr. He fought similar to how his son fights, except he didn't necessarily have the sharpest hand speed. He didn't have the pinpoint accuracy that his son has, or possesses. But he was as defensive savvy as Floyd Jr. is now. Roger was more of a puncher. Roger didn't necessarily have the defense that Floyd Sr. had. Didn't necessarily have the defense, but he was a big puncher, and he always looked for. He was pretty much that guy that looked for that one punch that could change the end to a fight. He was more of a headhunter than the other brothers. Because Jeff Mayweather, he was more of a boxer, was very elusive. So, but Roger in the middle, Roger was practically the big puncher out of the whole family. He's just a big puncher, really. And this fight, I'll make this fight probably about 126. Pacquiao versus Roger Mayweather. Roger Mayweather, as I mentioned, had pretty good power, but he was a headhunter compared to Manny Pacquiao, who threw multiple shots, threw combinations, and at the same time, he wasn't the same fighter at 126 that he is now. If you look at Manny Pacquiao now, he's a bit more disciplined. He's more disciplined than he was at 126 when he fought there about 6, 7 years ago. And Roger Mayweather wasn't necessarily the sharpest tool in the box, because there were times he would come out and he wouldn't even use his jab. He'd just come out and just fire off and tee off on opponents, and sometimes he wasn't really setting up the knockouts, just throwing punches, and he would get frustrated easily. Manny Pacquiao throws multiple combinations, comes out and throws multiple combinations, and he's willing to go to war with you. Roger Mayweather was willing to go to war, but the question is, could Roger Mayweather go to war for multiple rounds and pretty much take the attack of Manny Pacquiao? And Manny Pacquiao, I do think, has superior hand speed. I think both fighters didn't really move their heads, but Roger kind of stood. Sometimes had his right foot in front of him, and he walked forward and just kind of looked for an opening. But Manny Pacquiao, with his style, wouldn't let Roger look for an opening. And Roger Mayweather practically fought similar to how Mosley fought, just looking for one big punch, one big shot that can land. And that's how Roger Mayweather kind of stood, and was willing to go to war, but sometimes he can give out punishment but not take punishment back. If you look at the Chavez fight, I think in the Whitaker fight it happened, and I'm trying to think of another fight where pretty much where he just got beat to the punch, and it was probably maybe it was the second fight with Chavez when he knocked him out, but he just got beat to the punch, and other than that, Roger Mayweather, to me personally, I don't think Roger Mayweather had that good of a chin. Maybe that's because sometimes his chin was up in the air, didn't necessarily tuck the chin. So I do think Manny Pacquiao would beat Roger Mayweather and knock him out by the 6th round. So Roger is a little full of himself when he says he would whoop Manny Pacquiao. I don't think he would, even though Roger Mayweather was a right-hand dominant fighter, and they talk about Pacquiao and right-hand dominance. Taking consideration that Marquez, was a brilliant counterpuncher and has a wonderful timing. Roger Mayweather didn't have the timing that Juan Manuel Marquez had. And but sometimes with Roger Mayweather, he get one big shot off, and then he tried to land that shot again, land the same shot again, and that's really how Roger Mayweather fought. But I think Pacquiao has the speed and quickness to not let Roger Mayweather, find an opening, and Mayweather did good when he found an opening. So I'm gonna go with Manny Pacquiao by knockout, round 5 or round 6. So anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.